And so they've shaped not only my creative projects, but also my life, my worldview. They've shaped my perspectives, the way that I am. And I think that's even so much more grander than just making a YouTube video. So I really worked on streamlining that process last year, actually, because of that fact, because I was like, dang, I feel like this is so unproductive. Like these tools that are supposed to make me productive are making me unproductive. What I did was that I tweeted out like, hey, I'm going to be in Paris from this hour to this hour. Does anybody want to hang out? I had this girl reach out to me. Never met her before in my life. Never even saw her online. Like it was not like a friend. It wasn't like a fan. Like it was just somebody that was like online that just happened to be like, I'm around. Let's meet up. And literally like we met up like in front of like the Eiffel Tower.
Hello, I'm Dustin PolyInnovator. Today I am welcoming on the PolyTools Creator Spotlight Romina Espinosa, aka RedRomina, who is a content creator, published author, public speaker, as well as founder of Animor Studios, a digital media and film production company. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thank you. I see that you've joined the Red Clan.
Yes. I had to put on a red shirt. I mean, granted, red has actually always been kind of my personal brand's color anyway, so it's kind of like great minds think alike.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think Metal called me out on a comment one day about being in red or something like that too.
Oh, really?
I don't remember. But so first off, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. So we had a little bit of like a temperature drop here in Miami, which is fantastic because before that it was super hot and I'm not really, I know it's weird because I live in Miami, but I'm not like the biggest fan of hot weather. So I'm actually very happy that the temp dropped.
I heard it went down to like 30, right?
Yeah, it was really cold. Yeah.
And then even here, it got down to like about 30 as well, which is kind of crazy because I'm like multiple states above you. And so we met at VidSummit though. You, me, and Metal were all just having breakfast together. And it was one of those things where we were surrounded by content creators. How did VidSummit go for you?
VidSummit's amazing. I've done VidSummit a few years now, and I've been able to see it grow. And just seeing it go from a smaller con to this massive, like multi-story building is really inspiring, and it's motivating, and being able to meet all of these people who are making a living doing this full time and just being creative, having fun, sharing their knowledge, their expertise, their experience. It's really motivating and inspiring.
When I remember meeting a lot of people, and like Linus Tech Tips on his keynote panel was like, yeah, I met somebody, ended up having like a million subscribers and I had no idea. And it's kind of like crazy how these events that happen, you know, there's people like me who have 700 subscribers on one of my channels, but there's other people who have millions, some people have 30,000, some people have 100,000. It doesn't really matter. What matters is we're all creators and we all have a story to share, which is why I love having people on this show. But it's kind of crazy to be in an environment like that where everybody basically knows what you're dealing with. I mean, maybe not exactly, but they've been through a similar struggle.
Yeah, there's a lot of relatability. When you talk to people, you get to, I guess, not only see that other people are experiencing the same thing as you, but also seeing their perspective and seeing how they're able to solve certain problems or maybe even give you feedback. I know that like Metal and I, we talked to a few people and like they were kind of stuck on certain things. And then like we said something that's like, to me, I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like it was just like, it was nothing. But to them, they were just like, oh my God, that's like earth shattering. Like I'd never thought of doing that before. And vice versa, right? There are definitely a lot of moments like that when you are talking to other people who are in the same field as you. You can get those earth-shattering, those groundbreaking kind of light bulb moments.
Yeah. Well, and you've been in the space for a long time. We even got a question there talking about that, but you've also done other things as well. But let's go with your history here. What got you started as a content creator?
Well, we can go back to when I was born.
Okay. Crying as a baby.
Crying as a baby, and I was like, where's my camera? Actually, I did really love cameras when I was really young. My dad had the camcorder. He had a large camcorder. And my mom, she had a like Minolta like photography camera. And I always wanted to use the cameras, but she never wanted me to touch them because back in those days, they were like really expensive. It's like, no, you are a child. You cannot touch it. This is a fancy toy. This is expensive. And so for the longest time, I was not able to touch those things. But eventually, I mean, my dad's the guy who's just like, he'll slip the cookie under the table. So he gave me the cameras to like play around with, you know, and I think that's really where all of that started. And then my love of film and wanting to work in film and being in front of the camera, behind the camera, like professionally. And then having this website YouTube come out and being able to upload all of these videos that I had done prior and that really had nowhere to live. And then suddenly I could put them on the internet. And then oddly, people were watching. I think that that is like the most eye-opening experience of influencing me to continue to be creative and to be a content creator.
Kind of a big spark right off the bat there. And one thing I wanted to touch on there, Red, is that like the idea of having a backlog. You mentioned how at VidSummit people were like, oh, like you tell them something about just a small little tweak or a small little thing they can do. And a lot of people underestimate what they can do with the backlog. And you started out with YouTube with a backlog because you were already recording stuff so much ahead of time. And then you're like, what do I do with it? And even with these interviews or my other interview show too, I had like 120 interviews that I hadn't repurposed. And so whenever I finally was able to actually get around to doing it, I had 120 hours or more videos to actually go through and chop up. And it's just funny because like there's a lot of great ways you can reuse that old content. You can do a lot of things. When you first started posting, was it those travel videos that I saw, or did you post even before that?
Oh, I posted before that. So I used to actually bring a camera to high school. This was like, there was no YouTube back then. There wasn't even Facebook back then. I used to bring a camera to school and I used to like shoot videos of like my friends and myself and like take pictures. I have so many photos. And I think that like it was a lot of different stuff because the thing is that like back then I wasn't really thinking about, there was no algorithm. There was no like audience. It was just me recording stuff and archiving my life and documenting things. And so I did whatever I thought was funny. And so when YouTube came along, I love comedy. I love like anything I love anything that's like, that's funny, that brings a smile to people's face, that makes people feel good. Anything that's like fantastical, like sci-fi, anything that's kind of like not based in reality is like super fun. And so I wanted to see how creative I could get with like a camcorder, right? And so I did all sorts of stuff when I first started, like my first YouTube channel, which isn't like the travel one that you see. It's like I have like 20 different channels. I've gone through so many iterations of YouTube. But yeah, when I first started, I was doing a lot of like skits by myself. I was doing comedy stuff. I was just doing like, if I saw somebody doing like a trend, something that I thought looked fun or was funny, I would do that too. And then within that, I was also doing travel stuff because I was already traveling, right? Like on my own before all the YouTube and video stuff.
So why not keep it on like one channel and then just change your niche over the course of time? Like, are you just trying to make sure you get the full SEO boost of having a unique thing, or?
Because honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I mean, like back then, it really was not a discussion. Like these were not things that people talked about. Part of the reason that I created RedRomina was because one of my other channels that I had where I was doing stuff, it was a lot of like, it was a miscellaneous drawer for sure. Like there was a lot of like random stuff and it was all over the place. Like I was posting like videos of me singing. I was posting videos of me playing the guitar. And then next I was making like a skit about me training to be the best Tetris player. And so it was like completely, the spectrum was non-existent, right? It was just off the charts. And so I think that like aside from that, it was like a branding thing. Like I just didn't align with like the username and stuff like that. It just wasn't something that I wanted to tell people. And like RedRomina just sounds so much more fun to say. And it was also like, so RedRomina was actually my gaming channel. So that was like, this was actually my gaming channel. And so I was posting gaming videos while I was working on my other channels. But then I just really loved like the brand of like RedRomina. It just like sounded exciting. It was fun. It was like red is just kind of like an edgy color. It's just like, you know, it pops and I like the alliteration, the double R's.
Yeah.
So it all just kind of made sense. And I was like, do I really want to do this? Honestly, it was my mom. She was just like, girl, just go to the other channel. Just do it. Just like go all in on RedRomina. And
it's interesting because throughout that whole like conversation there, and my brain kept thinking like even these other channels still sound like RedRomina to me. They sound just like a different endeavor or excursion of tech niches, if you will. Like that you were just trying out like the Tetris thing or even the music thing. We should have had you go to karaoke with me on VidSummit, by the way.
Oh my God.
We should have done that next year. Well, but I'm thinking like you have all this other content too. Like you'd even like repackage it into like some sort of compilation and be like, hey, come check out some of my old content and just put it on the main channel. So you just have more posts like in the backlog. Like let's say like you have a week where you're just kind of slow and you don't have as much that you're able to make or whatever. You can just have like a couple compilations from other channels. Be like, hey, here's what I was doing before all of this or something like that. And you can come check it out too. But you can repost it on your main channel so you have more content for people to see.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Maybe do it like a kind of like a show.
Yeah. Or yeah, like Red's Journey or something like that.
Yeah, Red's Journey.
Well, and it's funny because like
The evolution of Red.
the evolution of Red. See, we're ideating here. It's funny because the way you approach RedRomina is the same way I approach PolyInnovator. It's just our personal brand names, right? And
Yeah.
it is something that like I think you and I both, because of our creative mindsets, we didn't want to just go with our names, right? There's also a lot of people named Dustin Miller, surprisingly, and so like it just wouldn't be an SEO optimized way of going things. RedRomina, though, as a gaming channel, makes a lot of sense. And what games did you play starting out?
So when I was I was playing all sorts of games, right, off screen. But my idea with RedRomina was I was doing mobile gaming because at the time that wasn't really something that like people at that time were not seeing mobile gaming as real gaming. So there was a lot of like stigma and people were just like, oh, like you're not a gamer, blah, blah, blah. Right. And it was like really dumb. And so I was like, okay, that's all I'm going to do. So I was playing games on my phone. So
How were you
it was
capturing it?
a screen recording.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing screen recording and then syncing it with a video later.
That's cool. I was really curious about that because like I know that like technically speaking, you could back then, even back when was this? 2013, something like that, or
I
16?
think it was something like that. Yeah.
I asked because like I just know that even nowadays you can use like Streamlabs or something like that on mobile, or you can even some phones have HDMI out now or with the USB-C port. But back then, like there was no way of doing it hardware wise, and so I was just curious, like physically, how could you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I still had those videos. I actually don't know where those are because they're not on the channel anymore.
Oh, it drives me batty because there was a point where I posted my first video when I was 16, and then that for some reason that channel's gone and that video is no longer on the internet. But I managed to find it on a backup drive, and so whenever I hit like 1 million subscribers, I'm going to drop it. Here's my first video I ever made. So hopefully, like maybe you have a backup drive somewhere, or do you have the old phone somewhere? Maybe it has it on there.
No, I definitely don't have that old phone.
Okay, wow. Have you ever, kind of pivoting here, have you ever tried something along the lines of like written and audio content, or are you just more video focused? Like the question here is like, what is your favorite to make? But obviously as a YouTuber that might lean towards that. I'm just kind of curious.
Like what's my favorite like medium? Like way of content creating?
Written, audio, and video. If you haven't messed with the other ones yet, do you intend on doing that, or are you just going to stick to video?
So I actually started my creative journey as a writer. And so I published a book of poetry when I was 15 years old. And so, but it was a culmination. It was like, I think I had started writing maybe when I was like 10 or 11 years old. So it was a lot of poetry that I had written in my preteens. And I was writing like short stories and essays and stuff like that. And then somewhere along the line, I discovered acting and then I did film and then I moved to Los Angeles and then the writing just kind of like disappeared as I was focused more on like YouTube stuff because that was so much fun. And so I kind of like abandoned the writing in terms of like publishing writing, but I still enjoy writing and I still write a lot. And I've also had
stuff like now at this point.
No, I actually have. So I have 2 projects that are upcoming. They're kind of like 80%. And then they'll be published soon. So hopefully maybe next year. The plan was to do it this year, but it just hasn't, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So I have a children's book and a book of poetry.
Awesome. I was actually writing down a note here, like maybe another book of poetry down the line.
Yeah. So I have a lot of poems that are unpublished and a few of them that are in collections. So they would really just need to be edited and formatted into a book. But like the thematic is there and it really is like a collection. So they're pretty much, there's some that are like organized and ready to go. But yeah, that was, I think, like to answer your question, it's kind of hard to just like choose one because I feel like there's so many aspects of the creation process that make up who I am and my creative identity. Definitely writing is something that I hold close to my heart because of the fact that it is where I started and it is where a lot of stories begin, even video, right? Even audio. It begins in the writing process. And so I think that there is something that is very personal about writing that you can't really get, that it doesn't really translate as well through audio and video because when you're, at least for me, when I'm in the writing process, I feel like I'm talking to myself. I'm in my head and I'm having this conversation with myself and there is no filter between me and the words on the page. Whereas like when I'm talking to the camera, I feel like the filter is the camera. And whatever algorithm I end up posting it on.
You're more worried about like the production of it in a way?
Yeah, because there's so many more elements, right? Like with writing, it's either like the pen and the paper, or the keyboard and like the document. Like there's really not a lot of like friction there to get started, whereas with like the camera, there's like the camera, and if you want to have like good lighting or like microphone, like there's so many layers to it. Whereas like if somebody just like picks up a pen and paper and they are a good writer, right? Let's just say like you have someone write something amazing in like a $2 notebook, like you're done, like the thing is there, right? Whereas like with the video, it's a little bit more, it's got a little bit more layers to finesse in order to have like a kind of like a finished product, even at the most basic level. Like even if you just like pick up your phone, it's like, okay, well, how are you going to hold the phone? Like, what is it that you're shooting? Like, is there enough lighting? It's all these things that like contribute to making something that's really good. And like with audio, like I've had a number of podcasts. I love doing the audio stuff. I think that it's so much fun. And I think that there's still a lot of space to explore within the audio realm. There's so much that goes beyond just like holding a microphone and talking into the microphone, because you have like the audio dramas and the audio books. Yeah, there's so many creative things that you can do with audio, and it is an interesting medium because as a listener, you are using your imagination to fill in the blanks. So it is like listening to an audiobook where you like explore these different characters, and like the way that the characters look are depending on how they're described, right? Either written or audio form. So it's like these favorite characters, right? Like listening to like the Harry Potter audiobook, right? And then like watching the movies and then kind of seeing like, do these characters look the way that I imagined that they did, right? Based on the description that I heard or that I read. And so it just provides like a whole other level of consumption to be able to incorporate the listeners or the reader's imagination into that creation process. And again, that's like something that's different from video, because like with video, like you show them, right? You show them what it looks like, and there's not too much of the imagination process in terms of like the visual aspect of the storytelling. So yeah, I mean, there's no one answer for your question, Dustin, because it's just like there's so many reasons to like each one.
Well, that's why I actually have that question there, and I probably should have just asked it straight up. I sometimes change it based on the guest, and I think I changed it for you, but I should have just asked it straight up. It's funny, I just wanted to make sure that I asked because, personally, I consider myself a writer, then a YouTuber, then a podcaster. So I'm curious from that point of view, like kind of personally to you, like what do you consider yourself first, foremost?
Creative entrepreneur.
Okay, fair enough. A little cop-out answer, but it's good. No, you're holistic. I think that in the modern day, that's why I have the show, why I have this channel. I think the modern content creator embodies all three. And like, regardless if you're just taking the videos and cutting it into a podcast or making a podcast from scratch, or let's say your newsletter, for example, you have the poetry books you want to make, but if you made one Substack post for every poem, and that way someone can subscribe to your poems, and you could then have an email list that's then related to your YouTube channel in an indirect way. And so like, as a content creator, you can do all three, but you don't necessarily have to make all three from scratch, if that makes sense too.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you have coming down the line that you're looking most forward to when it comes to your creative entrepreneurship? The books, or is it something else?
Well, I think it's definitely the books, because I haven't published a lot in a few years because I've been focusing on the video stuff and working on filmmaking. And so I'm really excited about bringing that back, like bringing back some of that stuff that I've written over the years and then putting it out there for people to read. And I also I'm also excited because I'm working on like my RedRomina brand. I'm kind of like revitalizing it, changing things up, and kind of bringing a little bit like what you were saying earlier, like bringing those aspects into that channel of like some of the stuff that was like missing from the earlier days that got lost along the way. So I'm bringing those back, and that's been really fun. Like I've had some really positive reactions to that, and I think so. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm also happy because like I'm also looking forward to designing new merch. So this is actually like old merch. So
what do you use for your store?
So I actually I don't have anything set up right now, but I was using Printful.
Okay.
Yeah, I was using Printful for most of the stuff, and then I have I believe Printify for the journals because I really like the quality.
Uses Printify, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're integrated with each other. So if you want like more products too, you might be able to go with them and then have like a little wider access. I'm not pushing you to go to Fourth Wall, but kind of am, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm looking into it. Yeah,
I did multiple PODs. That's so awesome. It was like Printful, Printify, and then also there was one that started with no, not Redbubble, but I did use one that was started. It started with a G. I forgot now, but yeah, there's different ones. Mm-hmm. So it really depends on like the product that I had, but I think so. I'll probably just like continue with Printful. Sorry, I was going to say Printify, Printful. And then maybe look into some of the other ones. I was looking to Fourth Wall as well. Like I had them on the list to kind of inspect.
I can connect with somebody too. And it's one of those things where I love tools. And this whole show started out because I wanted to talk to creators about the tools they use. And so us talking about POD stuff is just kind of like catnip for me. Speaking of tools, though, what do you use for your content creation, repurposing, and software or hardware? Like I see the tripod back there, and I was like, is that a gimbal on top of the tripod? I can't tell. Like, I'm just curious what you use. What do you enjoy?
Yeah, that's definitely not a gimbal. It's the mobile, mobile mount for.
It's blurred out, so I couldn't see much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have my bucket, of course, for my microphone. It's my ratchet setup.
I mean, it's aesthetic, so it works.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't even know what was in this bucket originally. It was like some gift or something that my mom gave me. And then I just like put the mic in there just like to hold it for a second. And like the second has lasted years. Like literally. It's
like almost an aesthetic for you, I feel like. And so I'm like, I can't even judge.
I know, but it's like, I should grow up. Get a microphone stand. Yeah, get one of those. That way I can adjust. I can do this every like 10 seconds. Just keep moving the microphone arm. Like actually though, dude, you just like tossed it off to I heard it clank.
I have another one here I'm using it right now, but yeah.
So currently I'm using the Shure MB for my microphone, and I have two Sony cameras. This is the both Sony.
Hooked up at the same time? Or no?
No. So right now I just have the Sony. Shoot, what was the name of this one? I forgot now because I like the other camera, Sony A5100. That was a jam. Like it's just such a great camera. I recommend it to anybody who's like starting out with their YouTube journey because it's so easy to use and the quality is amazing. And the flip screen, like you could do everything like one-handed. Which like if you're doing like vlogging or travel or like stuff where you're going to be out on the field, then like kind of taking that into consideration is so crucial. Like for me, I take so much time into picking what my gear is, what I'm using, because I have all these prerequisites of like what I'm going to need. Mm-hmm. So for this setup, I have like these wide lenses with the Sony X, whatever. It's because Sony, the reason that I hate the name is just like, it's because they have those weird names. And like, with like, it's like a serial number. And I'm like, I'm not going to remember that. And I have a couple of LED panels for the streaming, which they're newer, like the brand newer, not like.
It's a good brand.
Newer. And I just got those on Amazon. They're pretty cheap, but they have the full like color temperature spectrum, which is really nice. And they get really bright. Like right now, the brightness is, I think, maybe like 50%. It's not even like 100%. It is like totally lit up. I use the Govee lights for aesthetic.
Yeah.
So that I can, I love it. It's like so cheap. And then I can automate stuff. So I can do like, I have setups. I have shortcuts set up with my phone. So I can just like say things like filming and then it'll change and I don't have to do anything and it's already all set up. Because I think like the most important part for me in terms of like my tools and my gear is to have a setup that is not going to cause any friction between me and starting to record. And so I make sure that if there is a bottleneck, I figure out a way to remove it so that it isn't causing me to delay like the start time. Right. So like my streaming setup, I currently have like my camera on like a switch pod right now. I need to, I'm in the process of like moving from the studio right now into this. And so that's why I'm like sitting all the way back here, but,
just lounging.
So ideally like I would have like my standing desk so that I can use it as a tripod so I can actually like have better framing. But then I just have like the camera hooked up. It's plugged into the wall, so I don't even have to worry about charging. Everything, like literally to get on here and to look as crisp and fine as I do right now, I just turn the camera on.
No, it's a good point to make though. Like decrease the friction it takes for you to from point A to point B to start making content. Because a lot of, you know, we've been doing it for so long that you and I won't have really hardly any issue just popping on the camera and making a video. But a lot of people who are starting out, especially within your first 100 videos, that, you know, putting it off of a tripod or out of your camera bag onto the mount, hooking it all up, that can cause a lot of friction, like you're saying. And I had somebody on early on the show that was talking about that, where he was using the same camera for his videography gigs as he was that was using for his YouTube channel. And because of that, he had to completely like set up the process every single time. You also mentioned a unique idea that using the standing desk as a way to change the framing. And I think a lot of people don't think of it that way.
100%. Because so I only started to do that this year because the studio space that I have, they had a standing desk there. And so I like took it over and created like a stream setup with it. And I call it a stream setup, but I was using it in order to like batch film make. So like I set everything up so that all I had to do was go to the studio, turn on the camera and start talking. And it really made so much sense to like use like the standing desk. And then it also had like wheels. So I could easily like move it around the whole studio. And it was just like, everything was just so modded so that it was so easy to just start. And then also have like slightly different angles, right? Like if I wanted to have a slightly different backdrop, right? But it was all like, there was no unplugging the camera, unplugging the lights, moving anything. It was all just roll and record. So it made it very easy. And so I think that's like kind of inspired me to do the same setup here. I do love my desk, but it's more of like it's like a writing desk. It's more like romantic. It's not like
you could use it for your poetry, but don't use it for
right. Yeah, it's where we'll put the typewriter on it.
I was going to bring this up too. Like I have a mini PC that I often use. Right now I'm using my big old desktop, so I can't really use my standing desk in standing form. But like when I was daily rocking a mini PC, it was able to like lift up super easily. And, you know, I need to put wheels on it, like you're saying. That's smart. And just be able to take it around. I've been seeing some YouTube setups and like streaming setups that have like multiple computers. They had like the editing station, then the gaming station. But there was also like this one guy who had a bar cart and he had his camera on there and he had a couple different shots set up to where like, okay, the bar cart itself could be like a top down view if he was unboxing something, but then you could just rotate it 90 degrees and have it towards the podcast setup or have it just towards the solo YouTuber setup. And like, that's super cool. And they basically just turned the cards and that's all he had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that. Honestly, like wheel is the man's greatest invention.
I was also asking earlier if you had both cameras set up because a lot of streamers now will have one camera vertically off to the side. And I was like, oh, you could have your normal one there with a teleprompter or something like that, and then have the vertical one there.
Right. Yeah. I'm still in like a transition phase of like moving out of the studio and then putting everything in here. And I have been thinking about that because I do still have like my other Sony, but like you were saying about the other, it was your guest, I think it was, that you were saying that he was using like the same camera for two different things and having to reset. Yeah.
Like,
right. And so I want to avoid doing that because I'm thinking, because that was something that I did run into where I had like my camera that was perfectly set up for the talking head videos and the live streams. But then when I went on a trip, then all of a sudden, like I had to change everything because it doesn't work for the same, because I don't have, it's, you know, there's too many variables when I'm doing travel vlogs. So I need something that's a little bit more automatic and not like so manual, like with the settings. It was kind of like a hassle because I was like, oh shoot. Like I actually wrote everything down because I didn't want to forget like how my setup was prior to the trip.
Smart.
So that's one of the things that I did was like, I have a notes like in my Apple Notes, I have a doc that's for my camera settings, for the light settings, things like that that are just like ideal of like what I want so that I can recreate them at a later date if I needed to.
And that's one reason I like this show too, because we can talk shop and just nerd out about the tech. Because I knew that since you had the filmmaking background, you're good to nerd out about tech too. So like perfect. And then we talked hardware. What kind of software do you use? You already had that like unique idea, even back in 2013, using like the screen recorder in a unique way. So what do you use right now nowadays?
I use Final Cut.
Okay.
So I've used all sorts of janky software. I think when I first started, I was using Windows Movie Maker to piece things together, and then eventually there was a Final Cut. There was a version of Final Cut that was easy to get. I'll leave it at that.
Yo ho ho, yo ho ho.
And so I used that for many years. But then the App Store was invented. So then I switched over to being a professional adult. And so I've been using Final Cut Pro ever since. I've used other software like Descript. What else? I've used a couple of other DaVinci as well. Like I've tried a couple of the other ones. I still keep going back to Final Cut. It's just like the easiest thing. It's like kind of second nature. It's part of just like my fingers like do the work, and I don't even know. Like
that's how I feel
like,
about DaVinci. So I get you.
It's just like 20 minutes later, like a video's done, and I'm like, how did that happen? I just work on autopilot.
Besides editing tools, what else do you use? You said you use Apple Notes for one, so that's like your knowledge management one, but like what else?
Yeah, so I use Apple Notes mainly for, well, actually, I use Apple Notes for like everything, like my daily life, for notes, brainstorming, idea collection, and then also for like some journaling stuff as well. That's like my main hub. I've used Notion in the past. I think Notion's really great for creating a dashboard. But one issue that I ran into a lot was not being able to access my data offline. And for travel, that's really, really tough because sometimes I end up like in places where I don't have any connection whatsoever. And so that makes it really tough. Like one of the rules that I have is like for idea capturing, there just has to be no friction, because if there is, then the idea gets lost. And so I've had like specific notebooks, like handwritten notebooks where I'll write an idea. But what I ran into a lot was that I didn't have the notebook with me. Right. Like I'm not carrying around my idea capture notebook all of the time. And so with Apple Notes, it's great because it's always there. It's easy to copy and paste stuff. So if I did want to put it into Notion and kind of like expand on an idea or just archive it, put it into a dashboard, like if I have like a team, right, and then they're able to go into like my Apple Notes and see stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas vice versa, it doesn't really work out that way, because like I had a lot of stuff in Notion that when I wanted to get out of Notion and like move stuff offline, it was so complicated to get it off of Notion because everything is so modular. Like every single sentence, every paragraph is its own thing. So you can't just like select all, copy and paste and like export it. It's like, it was so complicated to do. And so
the database,
yeah. So I really do like Notion in terms of like having a system, having a database, having like kind of like a wiki, but I don't use it as much. I mainly use Apple Notes for idea capture, for brainstorming, for script writing. Sometimes I will, like, if there's something that I want to like save to keep safe, I will put it into text edit, like a text file, and then I'll just have that document so that I have that saved as well. I think those are like I think that's like mainly what I use now is Apple Notes. I try to streamline the process as much as possible because one of the things that I ran into as well was I have a productivity channel aside from RedRomina. And so I just love all this stuff, like diving into people's productivity, seeing what their systems are and seeing how efficient a person can be. So I did run into like the problem where you just have all of these different, like you're spreading the system out. And then it's not really streamlined because there are what what I ran into was there was a lot of redundancies. So it's like, okay, if you have a to-do list here, but then you also have this system here to run the to-do list, and then you have this system to archive the to-do list, and it's like, okay, then you're spending like 45 minutes a day just like managing the to-do list. Like it just doesn't make any sense, right? So I really worked on streamlining that process last year, actually, because of that fact, because I was like, dang, I feel like this is so unproductive. Like these tools that are supposed to make me productive are making me unproductive. So I cleaned that up just last year, actually. But one other tool that I do use is Trello. I love Trello.
Why not just use a Kanban database and Notion instead of Trello?
Because I was on Trello before Notion was a thing.
Okay.
I have used it. So Notion didn't have like the Kanban board stuff
at the time,
when they first started.
Yeah.
So I have used the Kanban board stuff on Notion for certain databases, because like I've done stuff with like other, like with teams and with like coworkers and stuff, and like I've managed products with Notion, and I've used the Kanban board because I love that system. Like to me, that's the one that makes the most sense. But I just use Trello. So the reason that I love Trello is because I just have it bookmarked as like my homepage. So whenever my browser opens up, the first thing that I see is my agenda. So I just have like my to-do list, and I have a bucket of like all of the like the brain dump of like what I want to do, and then I have the day of the week throughout. And so then I just like can spread things out so that I know like I'm working through my bucket of like all of these things that I want to do. And I just do that every day. But it's just so visual. Like I just love, so I consume like everything at the same time. And so to be able to see things at a glance makes a lot of sense to me. And I know what to look at, like what to focus on. Right. But I can still see everything at a glance. So I have everything that I plan on doing for the week, right, at a glance. So I can kind of see like, Wednesday looks like there's way too much stuff like happening on Wednesday. Let me like split that up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I know what like my max output is. Like generally it's like 2 or 3 things a day. It's like depending on like the size of like the task or the project, right? But it's like that's kind of like the goal, right? But I loved seeing stuff at a glance. So anything that I can see at a glance, like when I look at my calendar, I'm not just looking at like when I open up I use Fantastical as my calendar. So when I open up my calendar, I don't just look at today. I use the month view. Yeah, like that's how, because that's just how I am. Like I'm just like, I need to see everything at the same time. It's just how my brain works. Like I know that today is Tuesday, but like I want to see what I'm doing like 3 weeks from now, right? Like that's just how my brain works. So whenever I'm able to do that, I make that possible.
I love that, and it's a great way of using Trello too. I can definitely see why you use it. When I used Notion back in the day, I was using the calendar view a lot because I liked seeing it in the month. So I would organize all my content in the table database view, plan out the days I wanted to do, just like in the database. But then I would actually operate within the calendar. Nowadays, and to be devil's advocate, I think they do have an offline version now, which is interesting. But I use Obsidian now. Just wanted to show it to you in case you were curious. But like, there's a lot.
Oh yeah, I know Obsidian.
Yeah, it's local. There's sync. I was just like, oh yeah, and I have my to-do list here and whatnot. But
so did you transfer everything into Obsidian?
Painfully, yeah. So you're talking about exporting. Like Notion makes it hell to export, especially when you're doing that like thousands of files. And so when you were saying that, I'm like, let's cheers to that.
Yeah, painful. No, I that's. Like I still have my Notion dashboards, and like I still use the calendar feature. So sometimes when I am feeling like overwhelmed, like I just have a lot of ideas and I've filmed a lot of stuff, I try to see it at a glance. So I put it into the calendar so that I can see like, okay, this video I'm doing, especially for like last month because it was October. And so there's just a lot of stuff. And I'm like, okay, when does it make sense to like put this video up? Because it's a little bit more spooky. So let's like put it closer to like the first, right? We want to put it close to Halloween. And this one's like a little bit like less spooky. So like maybe we could put it like in like the first week of November and it makes sense, right? But it's like just having like a list of like 20 different videos and then trying to reorganize that list to like when you want to post it. It's like, it's a mess. I'd rather do the drag and drop method and then have the calendar and just like move it around, and then it makes sense because then I'm like, okay, I got a video here, and then I can see where the gaps are, right? Like, oh, there's no video scheduled for this, what can I put on this day?
Are you doing daily?
Yeah, I've been doing daily shorts since VidSummit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I do a lot of daily because of the clips from these interviews, but it's one of those things where like when it comes to solo stuff, it was only up until the month before VidSummit that I actually had like daily. So I recorded 10 videos for 10 weeks basically of like scheduled out ahead of time. I tossed them all into Opus and got like about 200 clips back. And I was able to schedule like 2 out per day. And I'm scheduling out to like 12 different platforms using a different tool. And so like now I have like 2 a day going out. And it's like, oh, man, just having that daily content is so nice, especially when you keep getting that traffic coming in for it. Do you do highly optimized shorts, or are you doing more just kind of like catch-all shotgun approach?
I would say that it's kind of a combination, because so my channel was predominantly longs and some live streams. And so I just started to do the shorts journey last month, and it's been super exciting. I've already had a couple of videos that like kind of took off. And so I'm trying to like, I'm analyzing the, like I have a video right now that's just like the chart is just like going like this. It's just like kind of going up. And I'm like, is it going to plateau at some point? I don't know. Like, it seems like it's just going up. So I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is the next piece of content that I'm going to make that is going to resonate with the people who are watching this. Right. So it's been really fun to work on that. And it's like, it's its own medium. So I feel like, it's been kind of a combination of those two. Like I'm kind of trying to optimize for like what is working like within the shorts realm, and then sometimes it's like
too, no less.
Right, exactly. And then like also just like kind of doing the shotgun where it's just like, okay, you know what, I want to post something and I kind of have this idea. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to see how it lands. So I've been doing a combination of those two.
I like that because a lot of times people are one or the other. For example, I'm pretty much just shotgun approach. I'm taking clips and I'm posting those clips. It's like 10 times a day or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's kind of like the written audio and video earlier. There's short, live, and long. So there's different content formats and types. And when you first get started, you have to experiment. And I think you're doing a great way if you're trying to experiment as much as possible, as wide as possible, but as optimized as well. You're looking at the data. Since you've been doing it for so long, it doesn't surprise me at all. But a lot of people who are normally starting out with shorts, especially at like only about a month and a half time span, they're not analyzing as much as you. They may not be putting out nearly as much as you at this like point in time. So I'm glad that you're actually having that like progress.
Oh yeah, 100%. I had a video that popped off that it was so much like the performance was like 300% higher than like all the other shorts that I had posted. So then I was like, okay, I need to look out for something that's like similar to this. And then I had an opportunity to do another video that was similar to that. And that one also popped off. So I'm like, okay, there's something here. So now I'm trying to figure out like third time's the charm. I gotta like figure out another one soon and like pop it in there, because it's like there, you know, you get these like clear indicators and like you have to ride these waves because that's like this is the opportunity, right, to kind of figure out. And I'm seeing like shorts as a way to prototype ideas. And even like when it is like one of those ideas that is just like, okay, I don't have everything that I need right now to execute it in the way that I would like to execute it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because the thing is that if it is a good idea and if it's something that resonates with people, then it's going to pop off. And then you're going to be able to do that same idea again better down the road. And that's kind of the philosophy that I'm taking now, is like I'm trying to not overthink the production process, because I think that's something that kind of stifles the creation process and kind of stops creators from growing, you know.
Given your filmmaking background, I can definitely see the perfectionism being a stopper for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that it's like wanting to have the best deliverable possible. Like you want to have the best thing out there. But I think again, it's like figuring out what are the steps that you can take before hitting record that streamlines that perfection. Because yes, I want my video to look good. I want my video to sound good. I want it to have the right pacing. So what are the things that I can do that can make that creation process easier? It's like having the camera already set up, having lights already set up, having areas, even if you don't have lights, right? And you're filming in your house, like know where those where those areas are.
Yeah.
No, like do the tests so that when you're actually going to record your real video, you know, like, okay, I can't sit at this window at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because the sun is on the other side of the house, right? Or like knowing like, oh, if I sit over here at 6 o'clock at night, there's a train that passes by every day at 6 o'clock, right? You don't want to do that. So just like familiarize yourself with the space so that when you're sitting there, you always know at this time, on this day, at this exact location, my video is going to be perfect.
Exactly. It also comes back to earlier we're talking about like, are you making it from scratch or are you repurposing too? And like, if you are repurposing, make sure the source content's also really high quality so that the repurposed content could be high quality too. Thinking ahead of time like that.
I have some time.
Can you share your favorite story that's happened to you as a content creator?
Oh my gosh, my favorite story. I have so many. I feel like
I got the time. It's fine. Make it a longer episode.
Did you just look at your wrist that has no watch? You got the
people
time.
Listening in don't know.
That's why you have the time, because you don't have the time. Let's see. Okay. Well, so content creation has given me so many amazing opportunities in my life. I feel like it has shaped my life. First of all, like a lot of my best friends, like my closest friends, the people that I talk to every single day are because of YouTube. Like we met because of YouTube. And so they've shaped not only my creative projects, but also my life, right? My worldview. They've shaped like my perspectives, the way that I am. And I think that's even so much more grander than just like making a YouTube video. I mean, it's like my core identity, right? And so I think that is like number one. And there's so many stories that I could say around that. Number two, the opportunities that I've gotten as a creator, especially working within the travel industry, I've gotten so many adventures and once in a lifetime opportunities. I had the opportunity to be flown out to Africa and live on a cheetah farm and work with cheetahs, which was something that even a week before I had left, I didn't even imagine that was going to be me, because that was, first of all,
cheetahs are so cute.
Cheetahs are very cute, but it's not like I was like a cheetah lover. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, I love cheetahs. Now, if you had told me like whales, then I would have been like, oh yeah, like I love whales. Like whales are like one of my favorite animals, like whatever. But like cheetahs they were never like on my radar, you know? Like I was like, yeah, they're cool. Like, yeah, sure, they run fast. And like, you know, we have like Chester, like, you know, Chester the cheetah. It's like, this isn't like something that was in like my idea of like who I was going to be in the future. And so the idea of like me just like being in Africa by myself without anybody that I know, like in the middle of like the thick of it and just out there with cheetahs was just like, honestly, that was a life-changing experience for me.
What got you into that? Like what was the spark that got you to be able to do it?
So they were looking for people. And so I sent in a video and then they chose me. And then I think like within a month, they're just like, okay, can you come like on this day? And I was like, dude, that's like in a month. They're like, yeah, can you? I'm like, I guess so. So I was on a plane and then I went over there and and one of the things that happened was that they flew me out. So I flew into Johannesburg, but there was a layover of, it was like almost a day in Paris. And so I was like, am I going to stay at the airport like the whole day? But what am I going to do? Right. I had been to Paris before, so it wasn't really like a, you know, like once in a lifetime. But what I did was that I tweeted out like, hey, I'm going to be in Paris from this hour to this hour. Does anybody want to hang out? I had this girl reach out to me. Never met her before in my life. Never even saw her online. Like it was not like a friend. It wasn't like a fan. Like it was just somebody that was like online that just happened to be like, I'm around. Let's meet up. And literally like we met up like in front of like the Eiffel Tower. Like I took an Uber out there. And then again, like I'm like by myself. So I took an Uber out there, just met this like random girl that I never knew before. And then we hung out for the day and we made videos together.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It was so random.
And then we had like crepes and like like in a French cafe. I was just like, we're just doing like the whole thing. We're going to see like the fountains. We're going to see all the stuff. Like, yeah, it was just like, dude, like we did everything that we possibly could within those few hours that I had. And then I rushed back to the airport and then got on a plane and went to Africa. So
serendipity right there.
it was, yeah. So it's like, these are the moments that I live for, right? So it's like, yeah, I got amazing content out of it, but this is what life is about, right? It's like finding these experiences and being able to work with the cheetahs and like being out in the bush and just like literally hearing lions roar off in the distance, like wild animals, and just like seeing giraffes running around and stuff. It's just like a life-changing experience to be there in their natural habitat and just kind of like, it's not like this is my world. It's like, okay, this is their world and I just happen to be within like a 5-mile radius kind of thing. So I think it changes people. Definitely influenced me in ways that I hadn't imagined. And then also just kind of like being out there and having to do like manual labor, like on the cheetah farm, and like helping to clean their enclosures and making sure they also have wild dogs as well. So like preparing the food for the wild dogs. I won't go into the process because it might not be, it's you require a strong stomach for it. I'll just say that. So I won't go into that process, but there's videos of it. Yeah, I think that's probably like the second thing where it's just like, okay, doing that sort of stuff, like getting opportunities to travel, going on press trips, all of these things, like doing public speaking and things like that. That's amazing. I would say like the third story would be meeting my husband. I think that's probably that's probably the greatest story of all.
How did Red Metal happen?
So we actually met at VidSummit. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I could have met my wife this year.
Yeah, you could have. You could have.
Speaking of which, after the call, I'll have to tell you a little story.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Metal and I, we knew each other like online we just had like similar friends. We were all in the creator space. And so we had mutuals, but we met in person at VidSummit a few years ago. And then I think at the time we might have both been dating different people. At least I was. And so we were just friends for a really long time. And it wasn't until like, we were both single and then we were both in Miami. And then it was just like, okay, yeah, let's hang out. Sure. Let's make it happen.
I'm going to have to ask him about it when I have him on the show too.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah. I'll put it as a secret question, so won't. Although he'll probably watch this before him too. But yeah, okay, continue.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the coolest thing is being able to surround myself with other people who understand me, understand my creative brain, and who support it as well because they know what it's like. And I think that all of the opportunities, like the through line is the people that I've met and the people that I got to interact with along the way.
I love that. And you mentioned like traveling and stuff like that. And I have a question here about your travel content. And I wish I had seen it before I went to Chicago, actually, because I went to Chicago like a couple weeks ago and I didn't realize you had a video about it. I was like, oh, I could have watched that one to get prepared. But it's interesting to think about how like I might have to have you on the show again because I want to become a travel creator of my own at some point because I love traveling. I love one-back travel. I love making content around traveling even. But what was your favorite part of making travel content? Was like the safari thing? Is it just in general packing? Is it kind of being like on your own, exploring? What is it?
I think it's a combination of being able to have new experiences, trying new things. Also, specifically about travel content is the kind of trying to do like problem solving on the go. Because like I grew up doing a lot of travel just because my parents love to travel. And so it was just kind of like, that was just ingrained in my DNA. But being able to incorporate and document my travels in my own perspective, right? Because like my dad, like I mentioned earlier on, my dad was like filming a lot of stuff. My mom was taking all of the pictures. So my life is archived. Like I have photos and videos like all over the place. And so being able to shift to being behind the camera and being able to control what the camera sees, I think was very enticing for me because of my background and being in front of the camera, and then like, you know, having my parents like document my journey for me to say, right? So being a travel, like doing travel content specifically, being able to show off the things that I thought were interesting, the things that stood out to me in these trips, that's probably one of the most exciting parts of it. And then also just the stuff that comes with travel is like being able to meet people and try things and kind of experience stuff, like working with cheetahs. I mean, like it's a top predator, and like here I am like petting it, right? And it's like these opportunities just are ones that like most people don't even dream about. Like it's not even like something that's in their realm of what they think is a possibility.
Yeah.
And so to be able to experience those things is really something that I wouldn't say is like once in a lifetime, because you can do it many times over. At least I hope so. But they are unique experiences, and something that I love for travel. So you talk about like loving to do like the one bag thing. Like I love wildlife. For me, that's like to be able to interact with wildlife in their natural habitat is like one of my favorite things to do. Like I went swimming with whale sharks, and that was honestly like that changed me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like honestly, sometimes I still dream about it because it's being in the water and swimming next to these giant creatures and not being able to communicate with them, but just like existing with them. It's kind of like an out of body experience. No joke. It's just it's exhilarating and humbling and relaxing all at the same time. So it's a wide range of emotions, and then also like just the thrill of like being on the boat, seeing where one of them is, and then just like not even thinking twice about it and jumping into the water.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like this heightened sense of like excitement to just like, okay, now I'm in the water. Okay, now what do I do? And then you're just like, is he gonna open his mouth? Am I gonna get like sucked into like this giant animal's mouth? Like, but then like nothing happens, right? And you're just like swimming along this thing, and you're just like, wow, this is really beautiful. To be able to connect with these animals in their natural habitat, and then also being able to record video and like have this documented, and like being able to relive these core memories whenever I want. I think that's the beauty of it.
That's why I love recording. And like, I was going to ask another question, but I think this is actually a wiser spot to end on. But one thing that you mentioned earlier, like in high school, for example, recording, I didn't do nearly as much as you, but I remember on the last day of summer school in art class, just recording everybody's dancing and singing along to a Bruno Mars song, and everyone just kind of being in that moment and just having that one moment captured. Or even the last day of senior year, I was like at the front gates, or not the front lobby essentially, and I did a kind of panoramic just recording of everybody chatting and being in that moment. And now I can go back and look at those videos and like, wow, like that's what it was like in 2013 or whatever it was, because like that's when I was in high school. And it's just crazy how like people don't think about that nearly as often. And it's like, I'm glad that you were doing that so much, and now you have all that history too. I think even at like VidSummit, taking a moment to take a selfie with people. There's someone who I missed the selfie with, who I always take pictures with, and now I kind of regret not having that memory with him from this year. And I think that's just having a moment to remember it down the line.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things which I haven't made the video of that yet was the shirts, meeting everyone at VidSummit,
right, sure.
and getting everybody to sign the shirt. It really felt like a yearbook. And I think like, so we have the shirts now, and
you should make a quick Instagram post of just like the front and back
of just the shirt.
It's just a shirt, just so you can have something now and then get people excited for the video later.
You
could also make that a YouTube post too, a community post or whatever.
That's true. I could
cross post a little bit.
Yeah, I might do that. I'm doing a lot of I'm treating like my YouTube channel now as a content creation hub, where it's like I'm trying to do like as much as possible. Actually just set up like my membership on my YouTube channel, and so we have emojis now, like the stickers, like all that stuff is on the YouTube channel now. And I'm super excited about that. And I've been posting a lot of like photos and just ideas and thoughts, and yeah, like treating it like a catch-all. I'm really excited about that. So I'm actually, you might see that shirt.
I got one more idea for you before we wrap up, because it's been picking my brain this whole conversation. And, like, you have all that backlog of content on 19 other channels besides this main RedRomina channel. And I mentioned the whole compilation idea, or even just reposting the videos is also kind of a cool idea. And, like, maybe only for members too. Like, hey, here's like my content that I had on my old channel, or old videos of me as in high school that I won't want to post publicly, but here's the membership stuff or something like that. But you could also take all those old videos and toss them into Opus or something like that and get clips and just start posting those clips on the RedRomina channel. Like, here's all my old content. I just wanted to share it with you guys because I figured 99% of you haven't seen it. Here you go. And, like, yeah, repurpose it in that way.
I like that. I also like the members only thing. So something that I've been doing is, while I'm working on my videos, like especially the ones that are a little bit longer for shorts, I'll have like deleted scenes. And so I've been doing, so like for my ghost hunt one, I did a ghost hunt last month, and I just had so much footage. I had so many moments that I just had, and I was like, I just feel bad, you know. It's not even just like, it's just like, I want this to be out there. So I just put it all together in a deleted footage thing that was like members only. And I was like, oh, this is actually really fun, because it's like, it's people just like the raw footage. Right. Exactly. And it's like, it gives people something else to look forward to like becoming a member. And then also I have that like hoarding mindset of like, oh, well, you know, the footage isn't lost, you know, like people are going to be able to enjoy it anywhere. It's like moving a thing from one shelf to another.
Linus Tech Tips also does that with their float plane platform, where they have like their regular 20-minute video on the YouTube, but then they'll put like the actual full like 43 minutes of footage on their float plane. So if someone wants to pay for it, same with the YouTube membership, doesn't really matter like where you have it, but like you have that backlog there. And so like if someone wants to see the whole thing, they want to see more of that video, they can too. Like,
wow.
And I guess that's kind of like what you're talking about there with your memberships, like having,
yeah,
like maybe you even have the uncut version if you have stuff that you don't need to like be private. It's like the full hour long thing, or 2 hours, 4 hours. I just have it on there, and the people who want to see it, they'll watch the whole thing, and that adds to your watch time too. I love packaging, like repackaging stuff. Like, it's just my catnip.
Dude, I love that. No, for sure. Like, I'm just sitting here.
Taking notes.
I'm it's all in my brain right now, because I know that you are like the repurpose king. You just love all that stuff. And I know that you're a systems guy, because we talked briefly at VidSummit about all this stuff. So I feel like you are somewhat of like my spirit animal.
And we're both wearing red too.
And we're both wearing red. It all comes together. So yeah, for sure. I'm going to be taking all this into account, because these are some really fantastic ideas.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to help as well. And if someone wants to come together and find your content and you online, where can they find you, Miss RedRomina?
RedRomina.
Yes.
You can find me on YouTube. Yeah, I think that's probably the best one. YouTube.com/RedRomina if you want to watch my videos. Just RedRomina.com is also easy, because you'll be able to, it'll link to all of my other stuff. Honestly, like, I'm RedRomina everywhere. I made it like a point where it's like, if I couldn't get RedRomina, I wasn't going to be on the platform.
Well, I actually have about like 12 links here for you. Those first two are the website and YouTube, so people can find you down below.
Those are the best ones, yeah.
Once again, this is Dustin PolyInnovator and RedRomina on the PolyTools Creator Spotlight. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. And I'll be back on with Metal down the line too.
Mm-hmm.